Everybody, it is Jonathan from Radio Tokyo, and I have been home all of 10 minutes. I went to the movies and saw another fantastic movie. That way, you don't have to go see it. Literally. I don't talk about it a whole lot, particularly on the show, but I am actually a Fantastic Four fan. I've enjoyed the various storylines that I've read, even though, they're honestly, the Fantastic Four is a little bit out there. They're actually pretty fantastic in, not just, the extent of their abilities, but in their stories. Um, I actually liked the initial live action movies when they came out, the one with Young Grufford. Those were pretty good to me, in retrospect, looking back at it, they weren't the best, but they were pretty okay. My overall uh, enjoyment of the movies came in the first one, of course, with the portrayal of Victor Von Doom, and the second one, basically none of the movie except for the reveal of the Silver Surfer. That is one of the most iconic scenes in recent history to me. But this new Fantastic Four just came out the other day, like last week, I think. It stars Michael B. Jordan as the Human Torch, Kate Mara as Susan Storm, Miles Teller as Mr. Fantastic, Jamie Bell as the Thing, Toby Kebbell as Doctor Doom, Tim Blake Nelson as Mole Man, and Reggie Cassie as Franklin Storm. And I have to say, honestly, if you have seen the article I posted earlier on our Facebook page, there are rumors that there will not be a second Fantastic Four. In fact, it's supposedly going to be replaced by Dead, Deadpool second movie. A second movie for Deadpool, which I'm fine with. To be honest with you, again, this is coming as someone as a fan. I specifically did not read any actual reviews of this. I haven't talked to anyone who went to see the movie. I went into it completely blind, but well, not completely blind. I was aware that it was not doing very well in the box office because I looked, I wanted to know, and I understand why. There's been several arguments between Fox Studios, Marvel, the director of the movie, everyone involved in the movie about the problems with it and why it is it's so bad, and no one seems to want to say, "Hey, we probably just messed up." You know, for starters, uh, an issue that we discussed, I believe it was last week, uh, when we mentioned, why Johnny Storm is black and all the controversy around that. That's one problem. Now, it's not, that I dislike the changing of characters. It's that the way it was done just doesn't fly. Franklin Storm is supposed to be, a really caring dad. He really cares for his kids and everything, but he's also super smart and he works for, in the movie, the Baxter Corporation. And that's true. Franklin Storm is a nice guy. He really cares about his kids. The reversal here is that Franklin Storm is, he's still the dad of Susan and Johnny, but Susan is adopted. Now, what you find out later on is that Franklin is actually the oldest person involved in this story, except for, Mole Man and several other characters. Um, Susan and Johnny, actually, Johnny's probably no more than 18, 19 years old. Susan, probably no more than 22 at most. Ben Grimm and Reed Richards are actually 19, 20, somewhere around there. Susan is probably the oldest of the four kids. And when I say kids, I do mean kids. The movie actually starts out in 2007 with Reed Richards in school, as a student, and he's scribbling, math problems and diagrams and stuff. And they're having career day, and his teacher asks him to tell, the class what he wants to do, and he says, "Oh, I'm building a teleporter." Well, Ben Grimm is in the background, squinty-eyed, red hair, hint, 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 and uh, he listens to what Reed Richards has to say, and then later that night, Reed Richards is sneaking into uh, their scrapyard, the Grimm family scrapyard, and of course, you see Ben Grimm's older brother. Now, if you know anything about the comic books, a lot of what Ben Grimm does is actually because of his brother being dead. Well, you see his brother in this, and his brother is just an asshole to Ben Grimm. The mom defends him and everything. Well, anyway, they become friends that night when Reed shows Ben, hey, look, I'm going to teleport a toy car. I don't know where it's going to go, but the car disappears and it brings back rocks. Uh, Come high school, like, very late in high school, they're actually at a science fair, and they have been working on this project since they were in fifth grade, which means that they're 10, 11 years old. So now they're, 18, 19, somewhere around there. Um, they were at science fair, the exact same teacher they had in career day shows up, and apparently they're in a conglomerated school because there's little kids in the science fair too. Anyway, they repeat the process and they send a toy plane, and it comes back with dirt all over it. And he says, "We think this is desert sand from the Sahara or the Gobi Desert somewhere." Turns out Franklin Storm is there with Susan, and he says, "No, what it is that you've done is you've created interdimensional travel." And that is where the movie really, really, really begins to depart from the original storyline. Now, it's, most people are saying, well, Johnny Storm is black, Susan Storm is white, and that's the departure. Yes, that's a departure, but it's livable. But the way it was done in the movie was it was just shoehorned in. Apparently, Sue is from the Ukraine. Victor Von Doom shows up. He is from some other place in Europe. Um, it's given one offhand reference to both of them. Like you see where Victor Von Doom is from in one piece, in one document, and then Susan Storm is mentioned. How you think you're going to get the background for them, but you don't. What you see the first time you see Johnny Storm, he's actually racing an older Toyota, and he wrecks it and breaks his arm. And then the next day, he's working with Reed and Susan and Victor. Now, I'm not going to do a full, blow by blow review of this movie like I did with Terminator Genesis movie, uh, but I'm going to hit on a few important points here. That way, if you want to go see it, go see it. I mean, it's not going to hurt you to go see the movie, but I just want to let you know that there are a few plot points that are a little iffy to me. So keep in mind spoilers, like official spoilers from here on out. Excuse me. Okay. Victor Von Doom is a complete slacker. He does not take care of himself. He wears dark clothing. He's very, very angsty. He stays locked in a room most of the time. He has, it's not exactly Google Glass, but he has a little thing over his eye where he can control, everything in the room around him. And that really, really hints, at what he is. Like I said, he's very angsty. He wants power, and you can tell, he wants power, because he's controlling everything around him with just his eyes and his mind, so that's heavily hinted at. Reed Richards grows up to be an unrepentant jackass. Now, I don't mean that he runs around being mean to everybody. I mean, he's very, very childlike, I guess is the best way to put this. He's awkward in social situations. Uh, he's rude. He doesn't really care about anybody. He's just not, you know, now that's effectively what he is, but the way it's done, it's like, haha, you're a geek, we're gonna pick on you. Ben Grimm later at one point in the movie actually tells Reed after a year of them getting their powers and Reed actually abandoning the team, they have to capture him in South America, and Ben headbutts him because he's angry because he was begging Reed for help. Now, of course, the way they get their powers is not the way it's in the comic books. In the comic books, it was done, through like a wave of gamma radiation hit them, and that's what we've all expected. No, in this, they go to another dimension, which somehow they have bitching Wi-Fi from. Um, they're able to send back video and pictures and everything. So they go to the other dimension and they find this pool of green energy. Victor, of course, touches it and it pulls him in, and he's thought that he's dead. Uh, Reed, Ben Grimm, and Johnny all get back in their little teleporter and they come back to our world. Now, Susan was not actually with them, but when the teleporter came back, it sends out this little power wave, and that's how she gets her powers. Um, the way their powers manifest in the movie is actually pretty interesting. Uh, as everyone everyone knows, if you know anything about Von Doom, he's green and silver, like his costume is green and silver, and his energy tends to be green. So there you go. There's the explanation for his power right there, green energy. Okay. Uh, Susan Storms in this shows up kind of blue, like this blue energy wave, and that's what you see when the teleporter functions. This blue energy ball goes like that, and it teleports him away. Uh, the way you see Ben Grimm get his powers is that the door to his particular portion of the teleporter uh, thingy is flung open, and a bunch of rocks get thrown in there with him. Johnny Storm's window blows open, and the whole inside of it catches fire. So when they land, the only one you don't see actually getting his powers is Reed Richards, and he lands, he wakes up, and his legs are stuck underneath the rock or whatever it is, and he drags himself across the floor trying to find Ben Grimm. He looks up, Johnny's there, he's a charred, a charred corpse, and Ben is piled in rocks. Um, then they start, realizing, oh, hey, we can still move around. By this point in time, the government is involved because they were able to send a monkey to the dimension before the people went. Now, the reason that all the guys go and Susan gets left behind is because they wanted to be famous. They wanted to be like Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. They wanted to be remembered forever as rather than being some kind of technician. So they go there, you know, have absolutely no idea what's going to happen, and they ruin everything. Well, a year later, like I said, Reed has run away. They catch him. They bring him back because they have to fix the machine. Um, some specialists go to the machine, and lo and behold, there is Victor Von Doom. He's been living on this planet for over a whole year. They bring him back, and they discover that his environmental suit he had on has actually fused to him. In the original movie, you see metal kind of pull to his face and his hands and everything because he was made super magnetic, and that's generally what people expect. In this, his crafted suit, is like Kevlar and metal and whatever. It's actually fused to him, so his head is encased in this smooth, glass-like stuff. But he has the rebreather on his face. He's all black. He's twisted. He's evil. No idea where it is he gets the cloak from, but of course he has a cloak. Uh, and he glows with this green power on the inside. Um, the point in the movie where I actually set up and was having a really positive reaction was actually him standing up. Now he says to Mole Man in the movie that uh, Earth is dying, and if it means the destruction of Earth to save his world, which is the interdimensional world, he's all for it. So he kills Mole Man by basically blowing his brain up in his head, and he walks down the halls, flinging doors open, and just exploding people left and right. I mean, just with his eyes and his mind. And so there you have, the hint of, hey, he did this before he was normal. Now he's doing it now. But I have to point out the way that you're hinted that Von Doom is going to be the bad guy is not just, going in and saying, oh, Victor Von Doom's the bad guy. No. First off, his name is Von Doom. They reference this. Susan is actually the one who calls him Dr. Doom. Let's see. Franklin Storm says, or is reminded that Victor actually burned his lab equipment up and then ran away. Plus there's the typical hints. He wears dark clothing. He has an unshaved face. He's kind of a bully to Reed. Yes, before I forget that, yes, he is a bully to Reed Richards. He effectively tells Reed that he's being unprofessional because Reed is making, small talk with Susan. Okay, whatever. Uh, anyway, between, point A and point B, this whole time, uh, Ben Grimm has been used as a quote unquote secret military weapon. Johnny is being trained to be one, and so is Susan. But they find Reed, they bring him back, and they go after Victor because Victor wants to go back home, and he is building a portal to suck Earth and everything on it into his dimension and use it for power because reasons because he's now a god effectively. He kills Franklin in the process, of course. By the way, um, and they have to band together to stop him. They come back, and where their lab was is this big hole in the ground, and the government says, "Well, we'll help you any way that we possibly can." So they get a whole building, and they go there, and they're standing there looking out over all the science equipment there, which, by the way, is funded by the taxpayers. But it's off the books. It's like saying, "Here, we'll give you whatever amount of money you want to do whatever you want to. We work for you. We're not even going to question why you have a giant rock man and a guy who's on fire, and then the pretty woman, and then you, who's kind of an asshole." That sigh should tell you everything that you need to know by the end of this movie. They even have a scene where they try and figure out what name they're going to call themselves, and Ben says, "This is all pretty fantastic." And Reed says, "What'd you say?" And then cut to credits where you see the name Fantastic Four. Really, honestly, if you've listened all the way to this point in time in this review, you can probably save yourself some money by not going to see it. Now, I'm not saying don't. Again, see it, and make up your own mind about it. But for what it is, it's okay. But if you're familiar with the Fantastic Four storyline, if you're familiar with the characters, if you're familiar with their interactions, their powers, their abilities, you're probably going to go see this and say, no, this is not what I wanted. Now, like I said, there's been a lot of discussion about whose fault it actually is, and honestly, I think it was a combination of everything that went wrong with this movie. I want to recommend it because it is indeed worth seeing, but that's past all I can say. I mean, if you want to go see it, like I said, go see it. It won't hurt anything. Anyway, that's really all I have for the review today. I'm actually a little disappointed in the movie, sadly. I wish I wasn't, and I wish all the reviews and everything were wrong, but it's predictable, it's laughable, it's not the best adaptation of the Fantastic Four ever. Anyway, go see it if you want to. It's fine. You can tell me I'm wrong. I'll be okay with that. Anyway, tomorrow's Friday. We're gonna have the Friday show. Danny is supposed to be back, so keep your fingers crossed. She's actually in another state again on vacation. She's at the beach. And if you're seeing what we post on Facebook, you'll know where she's at. So keep an eye out. She may be on tomorrow. I'm not sure. If she is, we are definitely doing Cartoon Conspiracy. If not, it'll be a surprise. Keep an eye out on the Facebook page. That way, you'll know what we're going to discuss ahead of time. So yeah, look for us tomorrow. Go see Fantastic Four if you want to. Have a great day. Remember to like this video. Remember to comment on it, share it, subscribe it. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Whatever. Have a good day, guys. See you later. Bye bye.